Our next lab is looking at performing basic file editing operations. So we'll kind of start here. Get ready to start this lab. And we'll take our break and come back and finish it up. Layout on this particular lab is just a little bit different than the other one was. Getting to it's the same, but then it's just a slightly different layout, but like what we're used to in some of our other labs. So if you haven't used this lab environment before, it's really easy to get used to. We're on this page all of the time. I very rarely click on any of the others, but this is our exercise right here. These are the 3 computers we have access to, and we'll look at that in just a minute in the file structure over here, or the topology structure. And this particular module will be performing basic file editing operations using VI in this practice lab. In this module, you'll be provided with instructions and devices to develop hands-on skills. If it's the first time using practice labs, you'll want to play the little getting started video, and it kind of introduces you to everything in this environment. So there's a lot of stuff you can do over here with different materials. It tells me down here what we'll be doing in this module. Exercise 1, performing basic file editing operations using VI. We'll create a document, navigate through the document, your file. If you're interested in exam objectives, these are the ones that are covered in the different exams. LPI, CompTIA. This one says it'll take about an hour, not quite as how long it took me, but you can estimate around an hour to complete this portion of the lab. And these activities are for learning, so pretty much they're telling you don't have to take any screenshots. You can take notes as you go if you like, but you do not have to as part of submitting the course work. On the next page, they describe our lab topology, and you can see here we have 3 different machines that we can use. There's this PLabs A01, which is our Windows Server 2016. It has an IP address assigned to it of 192.168.0.1. Then connected to it is the PLab Linux 01, which is a CentOS server with the IP address 192.168.0.2. And another PLab Linux 02, which is the Ubuntu server 192.168.0.3. Now, we may or not be using all 3 of these in any one activity. In fact, in this particular activity, we'll only be using one of the machines, the PLab Linux 01 CentOS server. Okay, so this is getting familiar with this environment if you've not used it before. This is where the instructions are for the assignment that we're going to be going through when we come back from our break. These are the 3 different computers that we can use. You can hide your instructions if you need to access more of the window, and then open them back up. That's supposed to pull it, make sure, change the device size to the default width. Over here we have a scroll bar that lets us go through the different computers. Right now the only one I'm seeing is PLabs A01. We're going to need the PLab Linux 01, so I'm going to click down here and power it on. It does take a few minutes to come up. Once it does, I'll click up here on the name of it. Scroll up just a little bit here and you'll see the PLab Linux 01 label, and now that machine's booting. Perfect timing. While it's booting, we can go take a quick break, about 15 minutes. It's 7:30. I'll be back at 7:45. All right, so we'll get back into our lesson 2 mind tap activity. File editing operations using VI. Okay, so over here on the right is our instructions, and a lot of you have seen this environment before, but if you've not, read over this first page, then click next. This shows us the devices we may use in these labs. We have the Windows server, which is PLabs A01. Then we have CentOS server, which is PLab Linux 01, and an Ubuntu server, which is PLab Linux 02. Depending on the exercise, we may or may not use all of those devices. Page 3 is where we really get started with our instructions. And in this exercise, we'll do basic file editing, including viewing, inserting, deleting, and making modifications to a file. Linux offers the VI editor to enable users to perform these operations. In addition, you can use VI to create, copy, and delete files. All right. So here's our outcomes. We're going to log into a Linux system, create a document using VI, navigate a document using VI, and manage a file using VI. And we'll be using the PLab Linux CentOS server, so you want to make sure that PLab Linux 01 is powered on. If it's not, power it on. So this is what we'll do in task 1, and then they list the steps down here to perform that task. So we'll create, enter text, save, and close a file using the VI editor. And the first step in that is to right-click on the desktop and open a terminal. So I want to make sure I'm on PLAB Linux 01. I'm going to scroll up just a little bit and make sure that that's the device that's listed there. Okay, since it is, I'm on to step 1, and I'll right-click in the window and open terminal. Didn't quite get it. Got to get my mouse to sync up. There we go. In step 2, we're going to create a new document using the VI editor. So we'll type VI test.txt. And there is a space in between VI and test.txt. This puts me in the editor, and I'm now ready to start typing information into my file. Okay, this is the new document. It has the name test.txt. It's here in this long. All right, there's 2 modes to this editor, command and insert. You use the command mode to execute various commands, while the insert mode is used to enter text into the file. So we'll press I to get into the insert mode. Once I'm in the insert mode, it says the insert mode message appears. I need to scroll down to see that down here. And I'll now start typing, this is a test file, period. Okay, once I've done that, we'll save and close the file. To get out of the insert mode, we hit escape. And you notice insert went away down here at the bottom, and I'm going to type :WQ. Not 3 times, don't know where that came from. :WQ and press enter. That saves and closes the file. It writes and quits is what WQ is for. It writes the file and quits. Now we're back at the command prompt. The file's saved and closed, and we're on to task 2, which is navigate a document using VI. So step 1 of that is going to be to open that test.txt file that we just created, and we do that using VI test.txt. Another way to quickly do that is hit the up arrow, and it brings up the last command that I issued. And I go into the editor. Notice we're not in the insert mode, so right now we're in the command mode. Yep, we should be seeing the file that we created in the last step, or the last task. You can now start navigating the text within the file. Alternately, we can use the keys below to navigate within the file. You can use the up and down arrow keys or L, H, J, and K. L is right. H is left. J is down. And K is up. Press L to move one character to the right. Go back by pressing H. And yes, you can also use the up and down, left and right arrow keys to do the same thing, if you have those. All right, then for step 4, they want us to add to the text file. So remember to hit I to go into the insert mode. And I have a way to open this. So that we can see what they typed. Give me 1 second and I'll get back. There we go. All right, so this is kind of weird, but give me 1 second and I'll get it there. Make it easier to see what we're trying to type in this window. And this one, usually I can collapse it. There it goes. Okay. All right, so I'm going to come here and hit I, make sure I go into insert mode. And I did. Use my arrow key to come to the end. Hit enter. It is always a new beginning, period. Past is left behind, period. Look at tomorrow, period. Start fresh, period. Tomorrow is a new day, period. All right, there we go. I think I came down too far. Hang on 1 second. Before moving ahead, enter a few more lines. We just did that. Okay. First, we need to ensure that we're not in the insert mode, so come back and hit escape. If you have more than one line in the file, you can jump to a specific line by entering the line number along with JK, J or K. So I can do no, not in the right pipe. 3J, J3, it's still not working. K3, there we go. 3L, 3H, 3J, 3K, 3L. Okay, we just move around. Just want you to get familiar with moving around, easy ways to use that feature. Shift $sign moves to the end of a line. So say you're in the middle, you need to go to the end. Shift $sign jumps you to the end of the line. Shift caret goes to the beginning of the line, which is 6. Shift 6. Another thing you want to watch here is the auto log out. If it goes less than, say, 15 minutes, just hit it and it goes right back to 60 minutes. But if it times out, it logs you out automatically. So keep an eye on that. Okay, to go to the start of a file, we'll press 1, then Shift and H. And you notice it goes back to the very beginning of the file. Shift plus H does give you a capital H, similar to the home function. To go to the end of a word, you can click E. Now these are when you're not in insert mode, so I'm not typing now. These are different commands that we can use to navigate through the file. Okay, W takes us to the beginning of the next word. The beginning of the previous word, B. To go to the start of the next sentence, Shift and right parentheses, which is 0, goes to the next sentence. And the other parentheses over 9 goes backwards to the previous sentence. To go to the end of the paragraph, it's the curly bracket. So Shift and curly bracket goes to the end of the paragraph, and Shift and left curly bracket goes to the beginning of the paragraph. Search forward for a specific string of text. Enter the string after the /. So if we want to search for tomorrow, we would do /tomorrow. And it highlights the next occurrence. And note the first character is black and the rest is highlighted in yellow. Okay, search backwards, we use question mark and tomorrow. And move down to start, so it went back to tomorrow. Okay, colon NOH shuts off the current highlighting in command mode, so we come up here and NOH, no highlighting, and it turns it off. Okay, we're now on to task 3, manage a file using VI. The command and insert mode of the VI editor are mutually exclusive. This means that only one mode can be activated at a time. Therefore, the commands entered only when in the editor is not in the insert mode. Commands are identified by special characters, including the backslash, question mark, or the colon, and appear in the left bottom corner of the file. Remember, the commands in the VI editor are case sensitive. In this task, we'll perform basic file functions, including insert, edit, delete, copying, and finding text in a file. Okay, so in step 1, we're going to navigate to the end of the 4th line using the arrow keys if necessary. So we're going to go to the end of the 4th line, which is look at tomorrow. To enter a new line of text below the current line, press O. The VI editor gets into insert mode. Notice we're now in insert mode and there's a blank line. And the blank line type start fresh, but then I'd have 2 start fresh lines. I'm not sure what that's what I wanted me to do. Let me double check that image. Hang on 1 second. Yeah, so apparently they didn't want me typing that line in the first time. Now they want it in there. And I'm ready for a new line, but it should look like that. Or I can type a new test line in there. The idea was just to edit the file, and then we hit escape to get out of insert mode. Okay, now they tell us to hit X, and you see that deletes. Okay, it says go to the middle of any line. Okay, so I'm in the middle of my second line. To append text after the last character at the end of the line, press capital A, so it'd be Shift A. That goes past the end of the line. And we're back in insert mode. You use caps lock or shift, either one, to make that a capital A. Okay, step 6, we're going to hit escape and come out of insert mode. Place the cursor in any of the words. To append the current cursor position, press A. Here, A puts me in insert mode, and I can now start typing. All right, hit escape, come out of the insert mode. Delete the current highlighted letter, press X. Note, in my case it was always. I deleted the Y. To delete the current line, go into the insert mode using I. Move the cursor over any part of the sentence look at tomorrow, and then press Shift S, and it deletes the whole line and takes us into insert mode. Okay, so we'll hit escape and come out of insert mode. In command mode, we'll enter colon, Q, exclamation point, and that exits the file without saving any of those changes that I just made. So instead of WQ for write and quit, Q exclamation just quits and comes out without saving. Now we're back at the command prompt. And we'll open the file one more time, and you'll see that none of those changes that I just made took effect. Okay, so we're now on to step 11. The file's now closed without saving changes and navigated to the command prompt. Open the test file once again. If prompted, enter, press R and enter. Now, I didn't save my file, so this text was not saved in there. They want us to delete the first word. To do this, type DW. Notice it deleted the word. To delete from here to the end of the line is $, and that deleted the entire line. Okay, again, I'll do the colon Q exclamation that say quits without saving. And I'll open the file one more time. D curly bracket deletes a group of text. Okay, so D curly bracket. I'm in insert mode, so I have to hit escape to get out of insert mode and do D curly bracket. Right curly bracket deletes to the end of the file. To delete text from the point of your cursor, D $. To delete from, we did that one, the D right. Okay. Close the file without saving. Colon D exclamation. I did something on there. Colon Q exclamation. Upside down today, I guess. And then launch the file one more time. To copy text from here to the end of the file, enter YY. You don't see any changes made because it just copied it to the clipboard. To paste the line, press P. To copy a specific number of lines, enter the number of lines to copy along with the lowercase yy. So if I want to specify these, that's right, and make them numbered. Okay. And let's say I want to copy the first two and reduplicate it. I can do the 2YY. It copies the first two. I can come to the end. Nope, that's not where I want the space. And then use P to paste the two lines that I copied. Okay, let's say I want to delete this blank line. DD deletes the line. To delete two lines, I can do 2D. and it deletes those last two lines. And depending on where I'm at, when I press P, it pastes that information there. If I use capital P, it pastes it before where I asked it where I was. If I use lowercase p, it pastes it after where I was. We can press ZZ uppercase to save the file and exit. Brings me back to the window. I want me to open the file one more time to verify the contents are intact. Okay, VI Editor enables us to create or load another file from within an existing file. Using the command :E! Forces the VI Editor to exit the current file and open a new one. For example, to open a new file by the name of, well, it says new file, but then it tells us to type new test. So I'm going to type what it tells me to type, which is new test. So we're going to name with a new file by the name of new test.txt from within test.txt file. So we're over here and we'll type :E! Space new test.txt. Okay, and you notice now that the new file is there, and we're now in new test.txt. I'm getting down 35 minutes. I'm just going to hit it and make sure I'm not timing out anytime soon. Okay, we're on step 23. The new file is open. Exit the file by using the following command: WQ! We're back at the command line. We'll open the test file once again. In step 26. And we'll search for specific words, lines, and characters within a file. To perform a forward search of lines starting with the letter P, type the following command. And it's /P and press enter. Pattern not found because I didn't have any P's. Okay. Let me try that one again. I'll do :, no, not :, /T. And you'll see it highlights all the T's that I have. We can also search for specific words. I'm going to use test instead of left. So I'll do /, backslash less than left. And I told myself I wasn't going to do that, and then I did. / backslash, and I'm going to test. And I still didn't get it right. 1 second. And it says it's not finding my pattern, but it should be highlighting. Past. Well, it should be at the beginning of the word where left was, which is highlighted here with past is left behind. So I'm not sure why I'm not getting that one. If you've still got the other part typed out, then that works. Not sure though what's saying it's not finding test. I do want to try. I think I did it wrong. There we go. And that's why it was not working. When you do it right, it usually does the right thing. Okay, to search and replace a word, we do the following. So instead of left, I'm going to use test here. So I've got %s /test / and then I want to make test all uppercase. 8 substitutions. And now you know how to do the search and replace. Okay, we can do the undo the last thing we did by pressing U. So it turns my uppercase test back into the lowercase test. And that's the end of that particular assignment. I can log out. And come back to my course to see where I am. So at this point, we're actually at the end of lesson 2, and we can come complete our lesson 2. We come back to Canvas and go next, it'll take us into our next knowledge check. And it's unlimited time and unlimited number of attempts. So I need to change the way I'm sharing, so give me 1 second. Yeah. So we need to look for which command searches for and display any text contents in a binary file. After typing the ls-a command, you notice a file whose file name begins with a dot. What does this mean? Give you a hint, it's a special type of file that you don't usually see. After typing ls-f, you notice the file names that a file name that ends with an asterisk character. What does this mean? And this was covered earlier. If resume or resume is the name of a file in the home directory off the root of the file system, and your present working directory is home, what is the relative name for the file named resume? Got to make sure you know which way your slashes go. What will the following wildcard regular expression return? File A-C question mark. So how do the wildcard expressions work? Again, you have unlimited time and unlimited attempts on those knowledge checks.